Friend has invited whole friendship group minus me. Oh, that's bad. Context is that we were close uni group who lived together in a dorm and then all flatted in close proximity for 3 to 5 years from 2015 to 2020. Said girl was my first friend at uni and we dormed next to each other. We became really close and spent so much time together and remained that close until she met her partner in about 2018 and then a more third wheel friendship until I left uni in 2020. Our friendship group was inseparable. There was maybe 7 of us constants and 12, 13 by the end when we left. Most of the group were coupled up. I wasn't. Anyway, I moved back to my home city and she moved overseas with her partner. We have stayed in touch since, but not actually seen each other since 2020 because of that. We talk every couple of months, etc. I still see the rest of the group occasionally who are in the country and come into my city or when I am in theirs. I caught up with one of the guys recently and he said he would see me at the wedding and I didn't think much of it. Just assumed the invites were either coming or being sent. Anyway, just seen on socials, she got married on the weekend and the whole group was there. Bro, um, that feels bad. I can understand how that feels without an explanation, without a chat, or without even just a message that, hey, getting married this weekend, could not invite you for X or Y reasons. They could have said anything given your friendship was that good and you were so close to each other, but let's move on. So, anyway, just seen on social, she got married on the weekend and the whole group was there. I realized they must have known or discussed I wasn't going, as no one messaged about my travel plans or accommodation, etc., closer to the time. Some of these friends have traveled internationally. I'm so baffled and just feel like I could never do that to a person. I feel so morally wrong to just not invite one person, and I also don't understand. Nothing happened between us. We literally last spoke like 1 month ago and about normal stuff. So odd, but now I have this desire to cut the whole group off. It feels like a whole sham of a friend circle. Edit. Also, for context, when I say we were close, I mean she would travel for work and stay with my family for weeks at a time when I wasn't there, etc. Like she was considered part of the family. I considered her a sister for such a long time. Again, I know how this feels. I clearly understand you here. And I was just mentioning there could have been an explanation, there could have been just a conversation, even if there wasn't an invite coming your way. They could have just discussed it with you that I am getting married and for X or Y reasons I cannot invite you. And I'm really surprised at your friends too who were um, vigilant enough to not discuss this with you when there were obvious uh, plans happening within the friend circle, and they knew exactly not to invite you. Okay. All right. It's not that I still think we are that close. I get the friendship has changed, but we were so close that she was family for a solid period of time. To then invite our whole group of friends from that period of time who are no longer that close is weird to me. I'm not in Delulu that life has changed, but it's still odd. Arguably, more annoyed about the rest of them all going about life with me and hiding it instead of just saying, "Look, it's kind of bad, but XYZ is getting married and I feel like you may not be invited," instead of just blowing up my feet unexpectedly. Edit 2. Update. If this is how the update me thing works, okay. Right. One of my friends replied, and she was also not invited but saw the post. She feels the same and said if she were me, she would feel strange about it, but I was closer to the bride than her, and she has actively distanced herself from the group and is not surprised. The guy who I've messaged and I'm closest to, who was definitely there because he posted photos, has opened my message and not replied. My god, what is going on here? Edit 3. Hopefully, final edit. So, the friend I am in the closest contact with has replied after leaving it. for 24 hours and it felt very curated. Yeah, sometimes you just look at a message and you know that they've probably, they've thought over it and they have properly written the whole message and kind of taken a different opinion on the message before sending it to you. You get it sometimes. Started off with awe with sad emoji, but then was followed with sorry I didn't get around to discussing the guest list and wedding logistics, but I guess they tried to keep numbers down. I just heart reacted it and left it. I'm not going to continue the convo or explain to him that my message was really in relation to why he never raised it with me. I think in the last 48 hours, I have appreciated a lot of the friendship has really been for what I had to offer them at the time, that is, money. I don't doubt if I hadn't raised any issues, it would have continued as whenever these people come to town, it is still asked that I do things to help out, etc. But now I do believe they will not contact me. I am still in two minds about messaging the bride to say congratulations because aside from the blow, I do still hold a special place for her. I am genuinely happy for her still and wish them all the best, but also kind of seeps getting into it. So maybe we'll sit on that. Yeah, I know how this feels. Sometimes without an explanation, you feel outcasted from a given group, and I I I think that there could be some beef here, one-sided beef, where probably there is something which your friend didn't like about you or has an issue with you, which the other members of the group are aware of. Uh, Hence, they were so careful to not discuss this with you. There is something which you are unaware of, is what I feel. But there is no point getting into it, there's no point digging up the graves. What is done is done. In good faith, to be the better person, because you do feel good about her, you can just drop a congratulations text to her, or if she's been posting on social media, you can like her posts and congratulate her there. And I think that will be enough. There is no point getting into details and asking for explanations or trying to find out what went wrong and what have you done or what can you do to make things right, because it's already very late. If the person wanted to mend things with you, they could have talked it out, they could have sorted it out with you, which is a more mature thing to do. But I don't know why your friend did not do that, and since she did not do it, it's okay, we can leave it there. Just feel good about her, and you've learned your lesson. You know how your group is, you know who your real friends are at this point of time in your life. So be careful with the people you choose. But again, I would say there's no point talking to anyone about it. You can just leave it at that. My self-centered brother wants to make my wedding about his kids. I'm getting married in October. My partner, 36 male, and I, 34 female, are doing a pretty casual wedding as basically 4 discrete events over a weekend. Hang at brewery Friday, outdoor ceremony Saturday noon, friends DJ, a rave at a bar Saturday late night, all day food and hang at our house on Sunday. We have capacity for, if we push it, about 100 people, which means we're already not inviting a number of good friends. Importantly, Saturday night is child free because, duh, it's a rave at a bar. We're arranging childcare for anyone who wants it. Which brings me to my brother. Here's the TLDR issue. I, 34 female, was already not on good terms with my half brother, 46 male, and we haven't spoken in 2 years, largely over kid related demands on his part. I sent him a save the date because I don't want to totally slam the door on the relationship, and I know it would cause family drama not to invite him. And he said a flat congrats, putting it on the calendar. But I was already not feeling great about having someone I'm barely on speaking terms with when our guest list is already tight. He then threw a fit about the sole child free night, and now I want to disinvite him. But the drama. And my mom. And I'm also not even sure how to go about doing it since I already sent a save the date. Okay, so the juicer version with context. We always like a context. When my half brother had kids, He went from being a pretty jovial person to being incredibly controlling, condescending, miserable. Mm-mm. Originally, I thought this was fallout from new parents' sleep deprivation and anxiety, but his kids are in middle school now. One illustrative example was the year he tried to tell everyone that no adults could exchange Christmas gifts because Christmas should be about his kids only. My mom hid all the other gifts on the porch and tried to sneak boxes to everyone else's behind her back. Clearly, my parents should have just said, "You're crazy." No, but we are a deeply non confrontational family, so when he demands things everyone else decides, it's easiest to indulge him. I used to feel really bad. I was constantly with him, even though I kind of knew he was being insane. He used a lot of therapy speak, and I always thought, gosh, it's all my fault for not meeting his clearly stated needs. But a couple of years ago, he laid into me a truly unacceptable tone. It was not the first time, but was a straw that broke the camel's back. Thanks in part to my partner, who was kind of aghast, I just stopped replying. I recognize I probably should have said, "I will not engage if you speak disrespectfully to me." But I just said nothing. I too hate confrontation, and so the standoff. We've exchanged maybe 3 texts a year, a busk, happy birthday type thing. Since then, I've done a lot of thinking about our relationship. I'm not saying I've been great, but I've tried to show up for him the way he wants. At his DIY wedding, I don't know what a DIY wedding is, but okay. At his DIY wedding, I worked for days setting up tables and chairs, etc. I really suck with kids and I find them draining, but I have prioritized visiting him for a weekend at least a couple of times a year, including when I lived on the other side of the country. I held, read to them, and at least tried to play with them. We made cookies together, I got them gifts. When I moved closer, I actually tried to visit more, but he often rebuffed me because they were tired or busy. He, meanwhile, has met my partner 3 times in 4 years, all basically by accident because I happened to bring him with me to things. The only times he has visited me, even now that I live much closer, has been to drop his dog off so I could sit. I guess he also met my partner then, but that's a 5 minute dog handoff. Not talking has been a relief, but I also felt bad that with the wedding coming up, I asked for a call to talk through our issue. He dodged a few items. In the end, it wasn't just me. I said my piece as firmly but constructively as I could, that I'm sorry for not showing up in the way he wants and for not communicating well about it previously, and that I'd like to build a relationship that works for both of us. But the way our relationship has worked for the past decade is not that. I need him to make an effort, A, to communicate differently, and B, to actually make an effort towards me too. This did not go well. We knew it, actually. He mostly reasserted his complaints. He kept calling my partner my chosen family, which, while literally true, contrasts with his own ask for his family, which he does not qualify as chosen but is just his family. There were a lot of similarity, invalidating moments. My issue with his tone is apparently me being overly sensitive to his feedback, and he's actually been holding back to protect me. Actually, he is a victim and he has been dodging my ask to talk because he is so afraid I will go ballistic and I cut him off. Tell him how refusing to talk to me about why we're already not talking equals protecting our very existent relationship. Still, he ends up saying he still wants to try to fix things and we can think about how to move forward. He then says my wedding invite was a slap in the face and pretty shitty to receive because his kids aren't included, and that a nice first gesture of goodwill from me would be to make an exception. I pointed out that they're welcome at everything but the late night rave in a bar. This does not placate him. He tells me to talk to the bar about letting his kids, and exhausted, I say I'll consider it. Shortly thereafter, I come to my senses. It's a rave in the bar. Kids should not be there. We literally cannot fit more people in there. So I text him a firm, calm message. My very even handed partner read for tone, saying no, his kids cannot come to the bar. It's not an event for kids, and also, by the way, this is exactly the problem I was trying to talk to him about. He replied that I was being aggressive and having a blow up, and he's not interested in continuing to try to talk. You guys were anyway not on talking terms, so that doesn't matter. He would prefer to keep things polite and limited instead. Now, who is cutting people off? Now, you might think that officially refusing to continue to speak with me and be polite and limited would mean he's not planning to come to the wedding. But I think he probably will if I don't actively uninvite him. Maybe he'll believe he's being the bigger person and showing up for the family, maybe just not to cause drama with our parents. Mainly, I think he'd feel self righteous about extending himself for me. I do not think he'd have fun. And while I didn't want someone I wasn't actually speaking to at my wedding previously, we hadn't like confided in the situation. Now it's like we're really not speaking, and that feels even worse. I told my mom, who has also been losing her mind over him for years, but then again not confrontational about this conversation. And then I said I didn't know what to do about him regarding the wedding. We are paying ourselves. She was like, gosh, that's awful, so upsetting. We'll just keep sending him details and see if he comes. I said, no, you're not getting it. I'm sure that I'm willing to have him there. She said, I can't even think about that, and hung up. He was a good older brother when I was a kid and defended me against a dad who was kind of an and I feel nostalgic for that version of him. On the other hand, as my partner keeps pointing out, we haven't had a relationship for 2 years, and before that, he had a strained, terrible one. Am I really going to invite this and not invite another couple of people who were actually friends with? But I was raised on avoidance and non confrontation, and I can't help but feel like if we hadn't talked, we might have continued in what was, sure, a pretty shallow and strained relationship, and we could have staggered just onward with the hypothetical idea that someday things would improve. I still don't really know or want to like not just slam but the lock that door of a relationship with my brother. Not inviting him to the wedding feels like a final blow, even if every time I imagine saying a polite and limited hello and thanks for coming to him at the wedding, I feel like dying inside. I probably just need to bite the bullet and say like, okay, thanks for letting me know. Polite and limited is fine for me. Not sure if you're still planning on attending my wedding, but we are reserving that for people we are both on good speaking terms with, who are excited to celebrate with us. We appreciate with you. We appreciate you relinquishing your seats for people we will actually enjoy spending our wedding weekend with. Just kidding. I know that's too catty, but that's what I want to say. To be honest, that's still a restrained version of what I want to say. So, a Redditor's verdict is that this is plus an olive branch to soften. And OP, your half brother, is stand for yourself, draw a clear boundary, and enforce it. Then there are also people who are saying, I thought inviting him was an olive branch. We haven't spoken in 2 years. He took it as a slight. The next olive branch has to come with him. So, my verdict again on this is that you should not invite him, or at least send out an official, a clear message or an email that says that he should not come to the wedding, because of course you do not want him showing up to the wedding with his kids and then throwing a tantrum there in front of the guests to spoil your big day. So to save yourself, it's better that you send a clear communication uninviting him. Saw my parents for the first time in 5 years in my chosen family's beautiful wedding. They were even crazier than I had dreaded. Have been meaning to type this for months. I've been meaning to type this out for months, but to be honest, it was too stressful to relive. Context. I don't talk to my parents because they are crazy and awful, and y'all just gonna have to trust me on that because I couldn't type out all the stuff they did to me without adding a bunch of trigger warnings. Trigger warning 1. child. My mom watched me in the shower like well into 16, 17 years of age as like a control thing. I wasn't allowed to tell her to stop or I got punished. She was obsessed with watching me and would watch me in my room like bust in as a surprise, trying to catch me doing what? Getting straight as what? It was very obsessive or paranoid, and my mother would regularly accuse me of weird stuff like plotting against her or secretly thinking she's fat, etc. This is very weird for me to read. It is very weird. Okay. And then they didn't treat me like a person, they treated me like a belonging. I was not allowed to have an opinion on anything, even into adulthood. So, obviously, after my failed years of trying to set boundaries, I just cut contact and have never been happier. Wow, good for you. I'm out here living my life in a different city and haven't talked to them in years. My cousin, not by blood, we have known their family since we were babies, invites me to their brother's wedding and confirms my parents are also invited. I swore I'd never talk to them without confronting them about the way they treated me, but I decided one, it was important for me to go, and two, I didn't want to confront them at the wedding. I wasn't in the wedding party, but I traveled to the wedding with the groom and his family, and I was helping them with a lot of logistics, especially taking care of the groom's elderly grandma. They are basically my aunt, uncle, and cousins, etc. You seem to be a good person to me. Alright, I got to the ceremony literally 1 minute before it started, figuring this way I could see where my family was sitting and sit far away. So I did that. The music starts, people are walking down the aisle, it's beautiful. Then I see my mom. First of all, she has her phone out recording, even though please do not take photos or videos is everywhere on the invites, on the programs, on signs. My mom is the only one with her phone out. Classic her. Then it gets weirder. She sees me and instead of filming the bride and groom walk down the aisle, she just starts filming me. Like, this is a woman I explicitly told I do not want to talk to her in many different ways over the course of several years, and then because she couldn't respect boundaries, I finally blocked them like 6 years ago. The aisle walk is done and she keeps recording me. I, 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 I can feel how weird this is when somebody is constantly recording you and you know it, but your mom's behavior seems a little odd to me. Odd, not the normal odd, the odd. I am staring straight ahead, trying to be in the moment for the bride and groom, whom I really love, trying to ignore the fact that my mortal enemy is unabashedly filming me. The whole wedding, she is waving her arms, trying to get my attention. We are in a church. She is Christian. I am not. She is being so disrespectful to the religious wedding ceremony going on in front of her and to me, obviously. And then the height of the trauma. The priest announces the priest announces the part where you shake hands with people around you and say, "Peace be with you." People are keeping it pretty polite, respectful, and mild. My mom runs across the damn church while the priest is talking and grabs me. Not a hug to be clear. I have been hugged before. She grabbed me like she was climbing a damn tree. She knew I did not want to touch her, both from the many years I told her that and from the right then in that moment I kept saying, "No, get off. Stop. This is not the time. Go away." And physically trying to push her off me. I finally yelled at her and yeeted her away, and she scuttled back to her pew like a coward who would rather disrupt a whole wedding than just walk up to me and say hi. Yeah, this is a little odd. She could have just said hi. She could have waited for her turn. She could have waited for the reception party or her dinner time or for the ceremony to end for the least. And she could have just walked up to you and casually said hi, spoken to you, how you're doing. But I don't understand this walking across the church and pouncing on you like that. It doesn't seem normal to me. My dad is like ignoring her as usual. I was shocked. I was sh- I was shook, and I wish I could say that the first time I've had to physically push her off of me, but sadly this is not. This is one of the less traumatic times. Oh, okay. So this has happened before. All the people around me were shocked and I couldn't really explain. After the ceremony, I stuck around because I was helping the groom's family and grandma, but my mom was just watching me from a distance. I'm sure you all can understand why I'm pretty sick of this woman watching me. After 45 minutes of trying to not look as uncomfortable as I feel, they leave. Okay, cool, bye. But no, my mom runs up. My mom runs right up to me, and I'm like, am I gonna have to have another physical altercation with this woman? But no, she doesn't say hi. She doesn't say, how have you been for the last 5 years? So many normal options, but instead she says, how did you get here? Like, I flapped my arms and I flew. I told her an Uber and that I'm busy and I'll see her at the reception, which is unfortunately true. And with no other words, she scuttles off. No, okay, bye, see you then, daughter, nothing. And before anyone hits me with, she's just a mom who's literally glad to see her daughter after a long time, yeah, I know, but she was removed for good reason. She was obsessed with bullying me and watching me and trying to catch me doing stuff. She once exposed herself to. Oh my god. She once exposed herself top half at the dinner table and demanded I call her disgusting and fat. I didn't, of course. She once woke me up at 2 a.m. saying I had to go to pray to someone on Fox News to heal me. What? And I said I didn't want to, and I just wanted to sleep, and she threw her body at the door, screaming and crying to stop hurting her. Like, I am trying to not spend this whole thing talking about how crazy these people are, but y'all trust me, I have like thousand worse stories. I I I feel pity for you right now. Okay, anyway, at this point, I am traumatized. I call an Uber to the hotel, I call my friend and cry and have a breakdown. And it's time for the reception. I'll keep it brief because it's already so long. No, it's okay. We like long stories. But I sat next to my brother, where I learned that he, as an able bodied 26-year-old man, has never had alcohol, given a speech, or danced in any context. I asked if he'd ever danced alone at home with no one watching, and he said no, never. My mom even did his college homework. What? I don't understand this female. She did his middle school homework and she was his teacher, and when I told her that was cheating, she screamed that I was bullying her. Okay. I think this is what the OP wants to say from her brother's perspective, that her brother said when he said that this was cheating with her doing his homework, she screamed and said that her brother was bullying her. Figured I'd have to at least interact once with my parents, so I went up to them when they were talking to the groom's family and was just aggressively happy and normal, like, hi, mom and dad, beautiful wedding, huh? Groom's father gave a great speech. They are being cowards, so this normal conversation was terrifying to them. They don't have any friends, so maybe they can't recognize a normal conversation. I just talked to the groom's dad for a bit and laughed, then excused myself. I ignored them for the rest of the night, but it was really hard and I couldn't dance because my mother was watching me, but I tried to ignore her. I kept busy helping the groom's grandma and whatever she needed. I decided she needed to dance, so we danced too, also with the groom's mom. They are the sweetest ladies and I love them. Wow, that's sweet. Bro and dad were the only ones who did not dance and just seemed actively miserable the entire weekend. I don't know, I'd be miserable too if I had that much hatred in my heart. When I went to leave my mom, it hit me with a she hit me with a where's my hug? Like, I don't know, why did you watch me in the shower even when I was crying, begging you to close the door, you weird lady? But I hugged her just to get away. There is something here which I cannot read for limitations, so I need to beep a lot of things while I'm reading stuff on Reddit. The wedding was beautiful, the photos came out beautiful, and the photographers cropped my mom's cell phone out on all of them. I went home with the wedding family, and they were also happy and full of love. And I did my damn job because none of that family knew anything went down with my family and had my friendly, helpful attitude crank up to 12. The couple was so happy with how things went, said it was perfect. We laughed, we cried. It was my first time meeting the bride, and she is now one of my favorite people in the world. As I was leaving the groom's family house, the groom's grandma took both my hands and in English, her second language, which is hard for her, told me that she was so happy I had been here with them for this special moment and that she had a lot of fun with me. I told her I had fun too and reminded her we have to go dancing sometime. Wow, it feels good even to read. She told me she loved me. I told her I loved her too and cried like a baby. And that is the story of one of the best weekends of my life, with a side of my weird family being weird. But I didn't definitely won because the groom's family and I are tight now, and the groom's mom and I are besties, and we're going to grab. I'm going to get crab soon. Oh, who was at the wedding after parties with just the groom and bride's immediate family? Not my parents, me. TLDR, crazy parents. Drama with grandpa's girlfriend. Wow, this sounds interesting. So, a little backstory so this makes sense. In 2019, my grandma passed due to stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She was my best friend and we were very close. My grandpa is not a good dude. He is a functional alcoholic who my grandma and cheated on her many times. At the end of her life, she said enough and left him but remained friendly. I guess in his older years, he has gotten nicer. I say this because my mom and aunt continue contact with him and we do separate holidays, so my other aunt and uncle do not have to be around him. I will also add that he is blocked on all my social media and he does not have access to my phone number. He is known for getting drunk and sending weird stuff to people. He also likes to inappropriately hit on people, including on this list is my mom's friends, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he hits on my fiance's mom at my wedding. That's interesting. Well, not long after my grandma's death, he got a girlfriend. He's not even good to her, so why this is a thing, I don't know. At one point, he had three other girlfriends. Wow, I don't know how your grandpa is managing to do that. Does he have a lot of money? I don't know. Maybe, could be. Yeah. At one point, he has three other girlfriends. She found out he cheated on her and they broke up for a little, but now he's living at her place while still having a home of his own. She dislikes me. I have known this for a while and I finally had to point this out to my mom and aunt. This last Thanksgiving, while leaving, she went around the whole room, hugged and said goodbye to everyone, then said goodbye to the dogs, and then just yelled bye to me and ran out the door. There is many other interactions that have gone on through the years as well, but I don't want to list them all. Of course, due to all of this, I decided I don't want her at my wedding. I only agreed to invite my grandpa to keep the peace with my mom, but I said that this is the hill that I will die on. Well, I sent out the save the dates and I specifically sent his to his place and it was only addressed to him. He has since then been calling my mom asking where his girlfriend's invite is. My mother has now decided that she doesn't want to tell him and that I need to either just invite her or call him and tell him. My fiance has offered me to use his phone so that when he inevitably gets drunk and decides to text or call after the fact, I won't have to deal with that. But I do want the proof for my parents and aunt if it happens. My cousin and his fiance told me just to tell him she's a. Mm-mm. This is all exactly why I wanted to elope. I think you should not elope. It's your wedding. You want to have it the way you want to have it. And you should continue inviting whomever you want with the people you love to be around you. And you get to decide whom you want around you on that special day of yours. And you have all the right to not invite people you are not comfortable with or from whom you don't get the correct vibes. So if your grandpa has a problem with that, he can better stay home because it's all about you. It's your day and not about your grandpa. So let him be home if he doesn't like it. but it's important that you speak to him and you make it clear that you won't be inviting her at all for your wedding. That was all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.